Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem, words that we say all of the time, but have special meaning as we prepare for Tisha B'Av, as they are words from the book of Lamentations. We chant from that every week, every time the Torah is put away. And though it is a beautiful sentiment, there is something always so bittersweet about it. Renew our days as of old. We have come to the book of Devarim. And despite the extraordinary nature of the Jewish calendar, which often lines up holidays with not always the same Torah portions, our ancestors, in their astonishing wisdom, saw to it that every single year we would be reading the beginning of the book of Deuteronomy as we come to reading of the book of Lamentations on the commemoration of the destruction of the great temples and numerous other catastrophes in Jewish history. These have always been considered painful days. And Rabbi Reuben and I were both acknowledging this week really how grateful we are to our tradition for giving us a sanctioned time to be utterly down in the dumps. It's timed so that right afterwards we begin the climb out of this pit. 3 weeks of deep pain followed, and more than balanced out, we pray, with 7 weeks of comfort. But we are not there yet. In the meantime, we have come to Devarim. Devarim, which we can translate best as words, but also things. Interesting quirk of the Hebrew language that word means both words and things. And here is Moses, this man who a few books ago in Exodus protested to the Holy One. He said, I am not an ish devarim. I am not a man of words, giving us a foreshadow of the great book that would come later, which is entirely Moses speaking. The man who protested he was not a person of words has now become a person of many. And in his final weeks, Moses speaks to the people. From his heart, he offers them reiteration of teachings and laws that have come before. He offers up new laws that appear for the first time in Devarim, and with some very striking edits, he rephrases certain laws and stories that have come before. Moses shows himself to be a man of words and gives his students, every single one of us, the gift of the word that has spoken to us, with which we have argued, and against which we have too often rebelled, but innovated, adapted, and brought with us at every stop of our journey, whether we have been victorious or utterly defeated in the battles that we have waged and have more often been waged against us. At times when we have lost our places of gathering and a land to call home. Wherever we have gone, the Devarim have gone with us. The words have kept us together. We are a people that likes to talk, and far too many times, the words have been all we've had. And yet we celebrate our Devarim. Described in the, quote, English name as Deuteronomy, second law, and the rabbis called this book the Mishnah Torah, the second law. But it really is more accurately a second covenant. First covenant that was made at Sinai, and now 2 generations later, Moses makes this covenant again. Slightly different words this time. But the spirit and the fidelity that is begged of the Jewish people to the God that took them out of Egypt, that is the covenant that we reaffirm still every single week with our words and hopefully our deeds. Moses, the man of words, speaks long and with detail. And Deuteronomy really has its own language. More on that perhaps in weeks to come. But just to know that there's a different tone to Devarim, different themes that repeat again and again, words that appear here in more places than anywhere else in the Torah. Some of them utterly magical, some of them appearing here only in Deuteronomy. Themes like listen, Shema, next week, spoiler. Love, over and over again. 23 times in Deuteronomy, love, ahava. Joy, which only appears once in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers, the root sameach, but 12 times in Deuteronomy. We are told over and over to remember and not to forget, and to hold on to memory and identity. These are just some of the themes of Devarim, these words that ring out across the ages. And there is one word that binds the Torah, our Haftarah, and our Megillah this evening together. And that is the word Eicha. If we take no other word away from today and this time of year, our sages clearly meant it to be this one word, Eicha. Moses says it in Devarim chapter 1, verse 12, Eicha Esa levadai tarchechem umasa'achem verivchem. How? Alas for the burden of you, the trouble and the bickering. How could I bear it unaided? Eicha. In our Haftarah, Isaiah chapter 1, verse 21, Eicha hayta lezona kirya ne'emana Mile'ati mishpat, tzedek yalin ba ve'ata meratzchim. Alas, the faithful city has become a harlot, the city that was filled with justice where righteousness dwelt. Now, murderers. Eicha, alas. And tonight, when we read the book whose name in English we call Lamentations, but is the book called Eicha. Alas. Eicha, my friends, indeed. How have we come to where we are? Ask our ancestors of one another and of us. And the same letters, Aleph, Yud, Chaf, Hey, the same word that God asks to Adam and Eve, the very first people. After they transgressed by eating a fruit from the tree, the one thing they were told not to do, they hide. And God, knowing full well physically where they are, says, Ayeka, where are you? The magic of the Torah is that it's written without vowels. And our ancestors long ago noted that word with just a minor adjustment of the vowelization. Where are you? Is transformed to alas. How can it be? It's not supposed to feel comfortable this Shabbat, though it's softened by the sweetness of Shabbat. But it is toned down as we ask ourselves, where are we? And the answer is too often simply, alas. Words have consequences. Words are things that can wound so deeply. I began this morning with Psalm 34. Who is the person that desires a long and fulfilled life? And by long, I always think the tradition means days that are full, even if they are not many in years, because we cannot guarantee that. But who is the person that desires a good, full life? The one who uses his or her tongue with kindness. Turn away from evil, says the psalmist, says Isaiah, says Moses. Say and know we all. Turn away from evil and turn toward the good. On this third haftarah of rebuke prior to Tisha B'Av, when we begin the turning toward the tide and the momentum that will carry us, please God, into the new year, let us use our words for good, our hands with gentleness. May our devarim, our words, be devarim, things of beauty. May we answer the question, where are we? With hinenu. We are here, ready to set our words and our hands to holy purpose. Shabbat Shalom.